I'm sure that, some of our audience also appreciates just how little is needed to break the illusion that everything is not being held together with duct tape and dreams. Hello everyone and welcome to our little corner of the internet. I am your host for this evening, Darjanator. Over there on the other side of the screen is, if you're watching this live on Twitch, the proprietor of this Twitch channel, Myre, my good friend. And in the middle, our esteemed guest.
Allegedly.
Allegedly our esteemed guest? Okay. The Archduke of Alcohol, the Baron of Booze, the Imperator of Inebriation, Paul.
Hi.
Hi, Paul.
Also known as the Astro Pub. You can find me everywhere on twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPub. Astro Pub everywhere else. So,
except OnlyFans?
not yet.
Ooh, good question.
Is
Not
the
yet.
Astro Chub there?
Soon. It'll be the Astro Pug. That'll be my name.
But yeah, so welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about 3.12, which just hit the PTU, and a bunch of people who've gotten down to testing, and we've got a lot of really cool, really awesome features to talk about, and with the year so close to the end, we're also going to be talking about what the future could also hold for the game, and what we think is going to happen, essentially.
Yeah.
But before that, when was the last time we had Paul on?
Oh, not that long ago, actually.
It was this year. But I don't remember
Yeah,
when this
definitely.
year.
Yeah.
How have things been since then? I mean, like in terms of like, just like keeping our viewers and listeners up to date with everything the Astro Pub?
Personally, I moved to a house, so I'm living in a house now. So that's why some of the audio is a little different. You've probably heard
The Astro House.
The Astro House. I've also started doing more, expanding out a little more. I've done lore pieces on Cyberpunk
Nice.
in anticipation that game's released. So I've done a couple pieces just kind of as primers for people who want to play the game. We've started doing a little bit more lore stuff. I did like a lore tour during the IAE where I would walk around the floor, talk about the ships, the lore of the ships that were on the floor, and talk about like the history of the companies that they had. So we like little blurbs here and there. So we've been ramping up the YouTube a little bit more for more content. So that's been good.
Awesome.
And of course we did with both of these gentlemen, we did a special Star Trek Adventures episode for the Star Trek for Star Trek Vasquez. So if you guys watch that,
Yeah. So, that's on the other channel.
That's
Spice
another
Must
channel.
Roll.
Spice Must Roll. Yeah. When's the next season of that coming? Because I should know.
When you should know, sometime in February.
Sometime February.
Yeah.
When is the Expanse? Because we do the Expanse as well, right? Like
the Expanse is after the after Star Trek.
Oh my god. I hate you, Paul. I hate you so much.
we could go from Star Trek to Star Wars. I'm sure Jake would like to have the Star Wars thing.
No, that's worse.
Then Dar's just back to back.
No.
Yeah.
we need the Spice Must Roll every day, not every freaking season.
He's an addict. He needs that TTRPG.
I need to roll that dice.
Fix.
I need to roll that dice. You got dice?
You got the dice? You got that dice,
I got dice. Actually, have them here.
Hey, yeah, you got the dice? You got the dice?
Got this shiny math rocks to go click click.
Anyway.
Now you're making me get up my own dice, my big
God
bag
damn
of
it!
dice.
Drop the D20. No.
I only have one die on me. Yeah, here it is.
Is it a giant one?
No, it's this one. It's like,
oh, nice.
For a little while, I had a loot crate subscription, and one loot crate had a covetous red dragon with a D20. This is the only die I have.
So what you're hearing is from this video is that people need to buy Myre sets of dice.
Well,
gifts.
I do have a PO box
It was
now.
actually the D8 I dropped, and he rolled a 7.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
It's going to be a good stream.
So yeah, people need to buy Myre some dice sets. That's what you need. So send it to his PO box.
That's right.
I think I just wiped some video compression off my face. There was a white spot that was following me over here, and I wiped it. It's gone, but there's nothing on my hand.
Sure, video compression. That's what it was. That's what they're calling it these days.
This is not an indication of. This is not an indication of how good the 312 is, by the way, guys. It's really, really good.
No, this is more of an indication of what the Fortnightly Frontier is.
Yeah. Anyway, so 312 has brought us a lot of really cool, interesting features and stuff. I think to start with today, I want to like rip something from your playbook, Paul, yet again. And what was your favorite thing from 312 so far? Insofar as like features that are in, what do you like? What do you don't like? What surprised you? Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, that's that one. That old nugget.
That old nugget.
Yeah.
What I've liked so far about it is it's really hard to pin down because there's a lot of good things. The spacescaping is it's just very good. Just very, very good. I really like the Tavaran Talon is very good.
Mm-hmm.
I like the colors. I like the design for it. I don't know how good of it is as an actual like combat ship, but it looks good.
It does.
Let's see what else. And the tractor beam's fun to mess around with.
Mm-hmm.
And strangely, I'm kind of hype about the elevator panels because they actually work. And
they're actually good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like only 2 or 3 additional designs that are spread out throughout the entire verse, other than what we've seen so far on Microtech. So I'm guessing they'll be adding more designs later on. But since the tech really supports really quick swaps of such things, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, it looks good. Like I was saying, so that's good. The bad is here's a lot of bugs. It's very buggy. It is
a PTU.
Right
it is still wave 1.
And that's the thing. It's like it's a PTU, so that's why it's bad, but it's also expected to be bad at wave 1 PTU. Like there's pips missing. There's like the cockpit of the Talon just opens and closes still. That bug still happens all the time.
Yeah.
That was fixed for a single patch in ETF, we were told, and then they had to roll it back because it broke all the other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The issue with bugs this early on, you're right, is that like we're in the PTU, and so things may not necessarily be the same way on release whenever that is.
I wonder how many bugs are actually caused by lower performance, which is caused by more aggressive logging that is present in the PTU that won't be in live.
I'm
sure
so
much desync,
I feel like that's part of the reason, and I know that sometimes they add stuff specifically in the background to crash you. So like there are tools they use that specifically designed to kind of destroy your experience a little bit. So
we're just been told by chat that the PTO is actually wave 2 right now. So maybe not open to all backers, but wave 2.
Are you sure? I've heard from other sources that it's open to everybody who is a backer, as long as you have money in the game. Yeah,
excellent.
As long as you have money in the game.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was that news was released by the SC Discord today at 2 a.m. It's
to be honest, last night at midnight I finished installing Cyberpunk and I have 9 hours in it, so I really haven't been doing anything else.
Only 9 hours. What a casual. Jeez.
I mean, I slept.
I'm playing right now.
He probably is.
I to tell you the truth, I didn't even turn the game off. I just alt tabbed out. I actually like it a lot. A lot more than I thought I would. Speaking of bugs, Where were we? Oh yes, Paul. If you could, shorten it to a single choice of what you like most about 312. Did you see that?
I
Did you see
saw
that?
it.
The
I
bald
saw it.
spot that I just removed.
Ectoplasm.
It's those giant murder hornets again, Darj. It's those giant murder hornets.
Right, narrow it down to a single thing.
Spacescaping. I'll have to say spacescaping.
Damn it! I was going to go with that one.
It's just that good.
Right.
I know. You know what? I'll change it because Darj wants to do spacescaping.
Okay.
So what I will say is this close second was the refinery decks. The refinery decks. When you step out of the elevator in the refinery decks, you are face to face with a list of your rights. And I'm like, what is this? Is OSHA regulations. These are like the workplace regulations that every nation requires that you post in the very front of where workers can enter. And it's this list of things you have rights for. I'm like, these are workplace regulations. CIG literally put a board of workplace regulations right in front of you when you leave the elevator. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that as an immersive aspect, but it was just like.
And they're beautiful too. I believe it's been put there with building blocks, so it looks immaculate.
It's super crisp. Yeah. A lot of people don't know, but the S in OSHA stands for Stanton.
Stanton. Yeah. It's a C. There's no S, but yeah.
The C? No.
Yeah.
OSCH.
Yeah.
No, OSHA. OSCH.
Oh, OSCH. Yeah, I'm thinking of the other OSHA.
No, OSHA. God damn it, I can spell.
OSHA.
I was like, how do you spell OSHA, OSCH?
Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Yeah. English isn't my first language, guys. I was never really good with spelling out the letters in English just because it's so much different from Slovenian. In Slovenian, every sound has a letter. There are no exceptions. Like you can have the C in English pronounced several ways, or just let's not even go through how many different pronunciations of the diphthong OUGH there are. But yeah, so spelling never really good. So I'm gonna blame it on that. I'm still gonna spell it OSCH, but I'm gonna pronounce it OSHA.
OSHA. I apologize. I was thinking of Noah, and that doesn't even have an S in it at all. But that's because I'm an idiot.
I'm just sitting here sipping my coffee. Would you guys like some?
Yeah. Yes. I need it. Obviously.
Yeah, I love the refinery decks though. They are very. The thing that struck me the most was the announcements on the radios, on the
as you walk through.
Exactly.
Tannoy
it's like
is that it's called.
Yeah, think Tannoy is a British company that became a
Xerox,
like a household word.
Yeah,
like a Xerox. But yeah, the funny one is like we found a mobiGlas. If it's yours, come to Lost and Found.
Yeah. Great.
Billy to accounting.
It's
no
billing.
No,
It's
billing. Yeah, it's not Billy to accounting. Someone to billing. Yeah.
One of my favorites is that if you listen to like the wild lines that you can hear in the background, it's like, "What, I gotta do your job now?" It's when someone's shouting in the background. I'm like,
it's a lot more down to earth. Less hoity-toity utopia spaces, but it's more like proper work, like a workshop talk. Yeah. All that's missing is calendars with big-titted women.
Yeah,
right.
Literally.
I mean, the best part about that place is that if you go to the mining area where they have like mining resources, there is a miniature mine. And I mean like a miniature model of a mine that's dropped by the Nautilus. That's just on top of there because it's a mining area.
Get it?
Get it?
I love those.
Funny CIG.
I love the little museums in there. Honestly, it's beautiful. It's really immersive. It really is,
And it's going to actually be useful because that's where the terminals for refining and stuff are. Like, unlike the cargo decks, which still don't have the cargo gameplay.
Yeah.
It's basically just a place to go to.
But
well,
then,
on top of that, there's like a little stand that has like this is Aphrodite. This is this is
Dolovine and Hadanine, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool because like it tells you what they actually are in the game. Before that, I didn't know that like Aphrodite is just cosmetic. I didn't know Dolovine is durable. I didn't know that Hadanite is oscillator and is used for like vibrating.
Oh, damn. Oh, nice. I actually am going to have to check it out.
It's really cool.
I wonder, once they remove Armistice Zones completely, could you just grab one of those multi-tools, put an orbit attachment to it, and mine the Hadanite that's on the stand? Do you think it's actual Hadanite, or is it an art piece?
I think it's a plastic piece. I think you'd probably just explode it.
Yeah.
They call security on you.
I think
definitely, yeah. But I'm just wondering what would happen before security knocked you out.
Right. You're saying you think, Paul?
Oh, I think that right now it's probably it probably is a real rock with Hadanite in it. So you could probably mine it right away, but in like the future, they'll probably just swap it out for some sort of like, it's like a plastic model or something like that.
Yeah.
But
so like right now with the refinery decks, you can take your stuff there. You can press buttons and choose like refinery processes. Different refineries have different proficiencies, and like so some are really good for rare materials, some are better for actually like the common like aluminium and stuff, although I don't know if the prices of that stuff has changed so that like, you know, there's actually worth to mine. But like as far as the refinery process is concerned, do you think that CIG are going to expand on it and make it more hands-on? Because if I remember correctly, the Orion also has a refinery on board it, and if it's just to press some buttons and wait, it's not really going to be much gameplay, is it?
I'd say that refinery decks, you pay people, NPCs, to push those buttons for you.
Okay.
But the Orion, that's going to be basically free, you know, other than purchase price and maintenance costs. It's going to be a free to process, but there you'll have to operate the machinery on by yourself. It's not going to be just a button.
That makes sense. Yeah. So I guess if we're going through favorite features, mine actually isn't on the list of like cards. Mine is. So did you know, Paul, that like all spaceships now, when in atmosphere, generate a wind entity?
oh yeah, because they knocked it. You can knock people back with.
If you're standing next to a ship and it takes off, and like its thrusters are next to you, you get knocked back. But not only that, it generates an actual wind entity. So like if a big ship flies over a cliff, then as it goes, you then see the wind blow past as well. Like it has a wake and everything. It's really cool. It's I don't know what kind of.
We did a test. We did a test with that Myre standing below the downward firing thrusters of a mole, and he had problems walking around when it was just hovering, and then when I boosted upwards, just
knocked me out. Yeah. And it doesn't only affect players, it also affects boxes as well, which can be kind of interesting. But we haven't tried it on like smaller vehicles yet. Well, we tried it on a rock, but it didn't do anything to the rock. But we know how physics affects vehicles. And
but because I think they disabled the whole disabled. I think they just made all vehicles stick to the ground when they're stationary, so they're not affected by wind. I think it was basically just to work around the fact that naturally occurring planetary wind was powerful enough to knock rocks over and push them out of the way.
Yeah.
So they just
that was a fun
that.
patch. Remember the Reclaimer being tumbled around like tumbleweed? Wherever.
I remember.
Ornery Tumbleclaimer.
I remember having a Freelancer fully loaded that was being blown away because it just happened to have the engines on, and then it was being pushed by the wind up into space while its engines were still on.
Yeah, I imagine that maybe they'll they'll dial it down so that your bigger ships can actually have that effect on ground vehicles. That'd be kind of interesting.
I think
yeah.
if they don't really have to fix anything on the physics engine side, it's probably just dialing in the values, because a wind shouldn't move a vehicle that's several tons. I mean, unless it's hurricane levels of wind, but at that point, you should be flying away with it.
But we do have
if you're on foot.
We do have a hurricane you can use. I'm sorry.
Does it rock you? Does it rock you like one though?
Yeah,
That's the question.
We have a rock too, just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that's But yeah, we that's, I guess, favorite feature is done. I mean, like
yeah. Well, I was gonna, I only chose mine, the spacescaping, and I did some investigations.
Okay.
I think there are a couple of repeats.
Yeah.
At least they were in Wave 1 PTU. I don't know if they've updated them since, but I think Crew L5 and Crew L4 had the same sort of look. Not sort of look to them, because all Crusader L point nebulas are the same. They're the kind of blue and sand colored ones. Hurston ones are puke green.
Yeah.
And ArcCorp one are like emerald dark green. And what's the Microtech one? It's like kind of grayish.
It's a multicolor. It has like a little bit of everything in it. Because Mikkel one has that like it's the grayish, but then if you look towards some, you can kind of see like the streaks of red and the blue and the greens in it.
That's cool.
Nice. Yeah. So that's basically explained by the further out from the sun, from Stanton you go, the colder they're supposed to be. So the Crusader, because it's her 1. Stanton 1. That's its designation. So it's closest to the star. That's the more the warmer, and then goes out. It's colder. But yeah, I think Crusader L4, Crusader L5, which are the same distance from the sun. That's why the same look. But I think they are also identical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's designed in such a way that, like, just so that the spacescaper himself doesn't have to like make a whole like bunch of different ones. Like, it's designed so that like when you approach from one specific place, like it looks different even though it's using the same assets. What might have happened when you were searching was that because you were going from Lagrange to Lagrange point, like your access point isn't necessarily where everybody's going to go. So like, let's say you're going from like the actual planet to there, it would look different because of the angle you're coming into. So you then see the repeats because you're kind of approaching from the back.
Probably, yeah. But then again, first iteration, they could have more brewing in the background just for replacements in the future. I mean, they just recently updated the surface shaders and textures for most of the moons and planets again. So,
Yeah, because it's the way they do it. It's essentially asset packs, right? Like they're making planetary asset packs. I imagine they'd be doing the same with these little nebulas as well. And eventually they'll have enough that they can mix and match them so they're not so obvious.
And there will be more. It won't be just at Lagrange points, because all the jump points will be in those little areas with nebulas, and we saw the one they used during the CitizenCon presentation when the Karak flew then, and it looks amazing and nothing like any of the ones that we have right now. So can't wait for that one.
Yep. So I guess this kind of like is more like a what's the word, like not theory crafting, but basically we're currently in 3.12. There is no card at the moment for 3.13. I don't think we'll see one until we get the new roadmap. But people are asking the question of whether or not we're going to be getting a 3.13 at all, or if it's going to be 3.12.1, 3.12.2, 3.12.3 until we get 4.0. It's just a random little thing, but what do you guys think? Do you think they're just going to keep going with the way they are until we get 4, or do you think it'll do that.
All right. So here's my argument.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is entirely based on nothing but the fact that CIG are trolls. Do you think CIG is going to pass up the opportunity to have a 3.14 patch, a pie patch?
The pie patch, yeah.
Yeah,
Come on.
they're gonna have a pie
I've been
patch.
telling that to Jake. Ever
Yeah.
since I find out that he's employed by CIG now, he has to start disseminating the idea of the pie patch.
A pie patch, and then the Stone Cold Steve Austin patch, the 316. I know it's also John 316 or whatever. It's a religious reference, but it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. They're all wrestling fans at CIG. Half of this, like a lot of studios from Texas. How could you not have an Austin 316 patch? Like, come on. Like there's no other argument other than CIG wants to have fun patches and fun patch names that they're going to meme to death, and they're going to grind into our brains until we hate them, and we hate the idea of pie and of all of these things because they're bad at it, but they're going to do it anyways because that's how CIG
they're not
rolls.
actually gonna give us pies in game for 314.
They better. I want a deployable pizza pie that I can put on my ship and people can
Okay,
take slices out of. Yeah.
That looks a lot better than what we have right now, because right now it's a yellow and red triangle. It looks nothing like a pizza.
Yeah.
And we have seen with the new darling of the PC Master Race, Cyberpunk 2077, that the hot dogs in Star Citizen actually look really good comparatively to what the best of the others can create, because those goddamn that food is doesn't look so good.
All
yeah,
right.
and then eventually we're gonna have to have a 420 patch as well.
Yes, it's gonna happen. Have to happen. Why?
Imperator, blaze it.
Yes. But here's the thing. Like, the patch numbers mean nothing. The only reason why the patch numbers mean anything is because CIG specifically said that 4.0 is going to be when they have jump points in game. That's
It's
pretty
a
much
huge step forward. Just like Mega Map, I think, was a huge step forward with 3.0. Was that when 3.0?
No, it was OCS.
OCS.
Planetary Landings and OCS came in 3.0.
Okay.
So
yeah, instead of 2.7.3. No, that was.
OCS came in 3.4, but it was Planetary Landings. 3.0 was Planetary Landings.
Yeah, 3.0 is planetary landings and re-entry and that kind of thing. They also it was also 3.0 was a bunch of things. Like it made sense that like they called it 3.0 just because of like how many different like frameworks had changed. So
it basically changed the game that we've been playing up until that point.
Yeah, that's why I don't think we'll see a 4.0 until iCache, server meshing, Empire, and jump points are all in, because that would be almost as drastic a change as 2.0 to 3.0 was. But yeah.
Yep.
So in terms of like next year and features that we might see based on like the development of the game so far, so survival mechanics that we currently have are kind of, I don't know, like what the word is, like really dialed down. Food and drink and everything else. I don't expect those to kind of like all of a sudden become like Atlas or like Minecraft. But like
or Raft.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Have you guys played Raft?
Yeah.
No, but I've seen streams and YouTube.
It is.
It's hardcore.
Food and water shove in your face simulator more than anything else.
Yeah, but so we have the basic survival like mechanics in, and the basic survival items like air, food, and water, right? But like because it's a space game, we have a whole bunch of other like more higher concept survival mechanics at play as well. We have fuel, we have quantum fuel, we have again oxygen, we have EVA fuel, which is a big thing that we don't necessarily have to monitor as well. We also have batteries too. Like, do you guys want to like expand upon like survival mechanics and stuff?
Oh yeah. Well, we also probably gonna have radiation. I think we had radiation in at one point, like ages ago when
Two-O.
introduced the Starfarer, not relic, Starfarer, the crashed ones.
Yeah.
Derelicts. And if you went into the engine room, sometimes you just died.
Isn't that just
from nothing?
Room system or no?
No, because it was in space, so you had to have your suit on in the first place.
If you got too close to the core, you would die because you would hear the little crackle, 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 and then you would start losing. And then your health would just go like really quickly down, and then you're like to back away from it because the radiation would kill you. And some of the wrecks when you went to go recover them from Tessa's quest line had radiation on them as well. So
I remember
you
that.
would die if you got too close to that. So.
I believe the Avenger Warlock, when it first came out, also had the issue. You go into the Warlock's EMP room and it turns on. You get sterilized like a Christmas chicken.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. You get what? Like a what?
I don't know. I just put words in my head and then
Word came out mouth. That's what happened.
Yeah. Stevie Dan says radiation, acid air could also be a thing. Acid rain on moons like Aberdeen.
That's true.
That actually damages your suit if you don't have a survival suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hot and cold are already in, but they don't really affect much apart from your actual character actor. But they will eventually affect things like your ship. They'll affect your weapons and your items and how they work. The maximum, I'm sure, in real life, at a certain temperature, graphite pencils don't work, right? So in the game as well, the way we have our suits having temperature ratings, I'm sure weapons will also do as well.
The biggest issue with weapons when it comes to temperature ratings is they're made from different materials, and different materials expand and shrink when it comes to extreme temperatures at a different rate. So all of a sudden the tolerances don't match up, and either things either don't seal anymore or basically just seize up because they don't have room to move.
Right.
So at that point, you may want to go with energy weapons because they potentially have fewer moving parts.
Right. I was going to say, do you want to guess which item would be better for hot environments and which would be better for cold?
Yeah, well...
I think your hotter environments will still be ballistics. Just because ballistics are mostly affected by cold rather than heat. Heat does fuck with them, but the biggest problem in most heat-related situations in modern day for ballistic weapons is sand and grime getting in and jamming everything. The heat doesn't necessarily cause that much of an issue. Maybe it allows it to overheat faster, but with an energy weapon in a heat environment, which is already generating heat, I can imagine it overheating a lot faster. Whereas,
overheating faster, but ballistic weapons do seize up when they get really hot to the point of actually glowing instead of just, we are in 50-degree weather instead of 20, that's not going to affect it. But if you're on Aberdeen when it's 200 plus, you would get to that point of overheating a lot faster. Yeah, especially because at that point also the atmosphere doesn't cool as much as it would.
Yeah.
No longer you're not only you're closer to that maximum operating temperature, you're also drop away from it at a slower pace.
Yeah, well, I mean, CIG just released the final concept art for the Shroud of the Avatar tie-in crossbow, right? So maybe perhaps if things get too extreme, you bring out a crossbow, as opposed to
it does have moving parts, but I'm guessing a lot less. It's got the cams and the arms, but it's not going to create its own heat.
Right.
When it fires,
yeah.
unlike a ballistic weapon.
So when iCache is out, I really can't wait to have situations where you log out, or you leave your Ursa rover or something out in the cold, and then you have to take. I mean, I say I can't wait. You'll have to wait because it's gonna take a while to warm up, right? But
you go back, you gotta turn it on, and you gotta let the generator power up and kind of heat everything up and make everything ready to go.
Yeah.
I wonder if you'll have a propane torch attachment for the multi-tool.
to de-ice your wheel.
You think it's the canopy, but no, it's your wheels are frozen, literally. You know?
when homesteading is in, like, I can foresee a lot of people choosing really inhospitable planets and moons to make their homesteads, just because it'll be more difficult for people to not only find their things, but also because of just how much of a pain in the ass things like that would be to like take into consideration. Like, I would love to have like my own like small little base, you know, on a moon that like you cannot really fly around. Like, there's too many like environmental hazards. There's like a 1 hour window a day where you can fly, and you have to drive the rest of the way and that kind of thing. You know, so that like I'm protected by all these like environmental factors. But
Yeah, hermit.
yeah, just want people to stay away from my stuff.
That's an interesting notion. Yeah, like especially like if you have a base in such a inhospitable place, it would make people rethink: is it actually worth taking this stuff away from you,
or is it worth exploring? You know?
Yeah.
But maybe those places will become the exploring hotspots, pun unintended, just because you can't fly over it in one go and see everything. You have to be down on the ground and actually do proper excursions and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's gonna be like sandstorm related with high winds, they're definitely gonna have to fix the way planetary winds affect ground vehicles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of in the lore for things like Tumbril, and the reason why Tumbril was so popular for so long is that everyone was like, we can just fly everywhere, and then you have some planets like the planet where Tumbril was really born, which is Yar, which is practically inhospitable. No one can live there, but people still do because of how bad the sandstorms can get, that you're just not going to be able to fly anywhere. And so the only thing you can use is a ground vehicle. And so you have things like I guess not the Cyclone because that's more new, but the DX-12 or the DX-2000.
DX-21, I think, or 20. Something.
We
something
just wrote
it's
about it.
DX-20.
Yes,
Yeah.
DX-20.
So the DX-20, which was this like all survivable, all terrain vehicle. So, you know, and so that makes sense. And so like that would make sense in the game in the future where like you can drive through a sandstorm because it doesn't bother you on the lower like towards the ground, but the higher up it becomes dangerous because when you're driving, you're not going to run into the side of a mountain. But if you're flying and you can't see which way is up or down without instruments, and maybe your instruments don't work because sand is getting all clogged into them, then yeah, whoops, crash, you know? So
here's an idea though. Somebody in chat mentioned the Terrapin, but imagine a vehicle like the Terrapin, like a spaceship, that's got wheels it can deploy.
Ew. You mean like you mean like the Nomad? The Nomad has Gravlev pads. You mean like the Prowler? The Prowler has Gravlev pads. They just don't do what they're supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, Gravlev is still not connecting you to the ground. You're still, you know, subject to winds. But something that can land and then just start driving like an Ursa.
It makes me think, like in my mind, like I have the mental image of those like amphibious cars, like those duck cars. It's like ew.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Prowler, because that's what the Prowler was supposed to be. The Prowler is supposed to have the same technology that you see in the Nomad, where it can just hover rather than land, and be turned into a hover vehicle. So,
yeah, I can't wait for that feature to come in. But maybe first, CIG will have to fix hover mode.
Yes, fix hover.
Well, not hover mode, but hover vehicle mode or whatever. Just fix the ground vehicle, CIG.
Yeah, all of them. Oh, and something that we didn't mention in 3.12. Ground vehicles got V-Joy steering.
I don't like it. Yeah, they do now. It's very granular now. Like most games are like IO. This is much more smooth.
Yep. And they drive so much better than the fucking cars in Cyberpunk, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, they used to making horses. I mean, come on.
Yeah, sure.
I will say this is just turning into a 3.12 versus Cyberpunk debate because I don't I will say
it is the new hotness. We gotta.
There's a lot of things that I would say with 3.12 though that people as with every patch, CIG makes a lot of changes that you don't realize. There's a lot of changes that have changed in the patch specifically for that weren't listed on the patch lists, and they almost always do that.
Yeah.
But they're always minor changes, like the vehicle. It doesn't seem like a minor change that you put vehicles have V-join now.
Yeah.
Or
the vehicle wind entity.
Yeah.
Paul, have you heard how missiles sound in this patch?
I have not.
Dude.
Do they sound really good?
Dude. They don't just sound good. They sound, you know how Elite Dangerous is like really good, from an audio perspective. It has that same kind of oomph from like an Elite Dangerous kind of like sound, it's just really impactful. Like even really size 2, even size 2 missiles, when they hit, the explosions look different. They sound amazing now. It's like that's catastrophic. And also like size 9.
That's a lot of damage.
Exactly. And size 9 torpedoes. So they're much slower now. They look like if somebody like 3 clicks in the air launches a size 9 torpedo at somebody on the ground, it looks like a ship is like in re-entry. The sounds are so good.
That sounds great, but you know what makes me angry?
What?
That those sounds are improved. But the thing that the Talon was supposed to be known for is having this terrifying sound upon like entry. You're like,
it's so subdued, like, isn't it? Yeah.
It's you can barely. It's like. That's what it sounds like. It's like a small roar with a little bit of a. It's like that's not terrifying.
I'm sure they'll fix it.
It's one of those things that they won't fix unless, of course, we make a noise about it, because it's something that they brought up in the brochure. And the audio team may not necessarily have that same kind of connect.
Yeah.
Does the brochure explain whether that is an atmospheric thing or is it?
It's an atmospheric thing because like it's a recount from somebody who was being attacked by Teverin, or like their hometown was being attacked.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what the tails are for. Like, it's got the wings, it's got the little tiny feathers, but it's also got these really long 2 strands of segmented sort of chain-like tails going from it. I wonder and they do nothing from what I've seen. I wonder if that is basically just for sound generation via wind turbulence.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, as people in chat say, it's supposed to be like a Stuka from like like a dive bomb.
Yes.
Stuka. Yeah, it's
the Junkers SU or JU-87, I believe. Yes. That was, if you don't have to look it up in historical videos, it was very nicely represented in that one scene in Dunkirk, that movie. But yes, it's basically that had it activated up at certain speeds, so it turned on when it was dive bombing, when it was gathering speed.
This is me giving CIG a huge benefit of the doubt, though, but in the recount, it was because it was a squadron of these things. Maybe perhaps it's about the amount of these Talons flying at once that create the effect. Maybe we shouldn't say anything unless we get 10 people at once to dive bomb like you or something.
I still think it's an oversight from the audio. I think there's a bunch of other audio. It's a lot of audio issues. I think it's either an oversight from their team or there's some other audio things, because like the wind sounds on the planet are just overpowering right now. You just all you hear is wind everywhere you go.
Would you want that to be a thing once they implement it? Would you want it to be a thing that is it's on all the time, or would you want to have a button on the dashboard to turn it on?
The sounds.
I could see it being like a button where or it's something that happens when you dive. So like when you're going decelerating quickly,
a certain angle.
Yeah. That it activates. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. It shouldn't be on all the time. Otherwise, there goes your element of surprise. It's like, okay, what's that noise? It's one dude trying to attack us, and he's blow him out of the sky because he's way too loud in his favorite ship.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like also something about the Talon I like. It's
Mhm.
got all of the little nooks and crannies are filled with components. Like the 100i was also like that. It came with all the little components
Yeah.
in their own bays that are accessible and have had all the little thing openable, just like what they're fixing with the Gladius for a future patch.
Have you seen the Gladius this patch?
No,
So neither have I. I'm not sure if maybe perhaps it's already started.
I don't think
Possibly, 'cause
people have the Gladius in the PTU.
Maybe. I mean, we can,
Unless you have it
yeah.
already. Like
on
I could double check it, but it
Yeah.
was definitely one of those situations where it is. They said it during the roundup that they're doing that, but they also said like we're doing these two guns that are still in initial implementation patches, and like both of those guns are in game.
Yeah.
In 3.12.
Yeah.
So
We had that same kind of like very short like time between seeing it and or seeing it on ISC and in game when the cargo like when the weapon containers on the Gladius were announced. It was about the same kind of time frame.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
And the Talon also has that.
it does, yeah. It's basically like sexy Gladius essentially. You know.
I mean that's what it's designed to be too.
Yeah.
I mean it's designed.
Or
to be
wasn't the Gladius designed to
be
fight
a
the
sexy
Talon?
Talon? Yes,
To be a sexless Talon, yeah.
a sexless Talon. Yes.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. In lore, the Talon was part of the first Tavaran War, and before the second Tavaran War, you had the fall of the Olympus, and the last stand of the cap of the Olympus with stiletto light fighters, and then they designed a way that you could add shields to smaller ships, to subcapital ships, because they stole it from the Tavaran, and then they designed the Gladius specifically as the future mainline fighter of the UEE with shields. It's essentially the UEE's take on the Talon. That's what it is. That's what.
Doesn't look as good though. They had the Talon with its shimmering iridescent carbon fiber bodywork, and then they made the baby's first poo brown Gladius.
Well,
Yes. Well, we are talking about. Remember, we are talking about the Mezzer era, so where everything must be matte black and do as much damage as possible. If it can commit multiple war crimes by simply existing, it's a good ship. Otherwise, it's not good enough for the Mezzers.
Well, we all know who won that war. Am I right? Definitely wasn't those droid brains, that's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Touche.
you have a point. You have a
Touche.
point. The Goths win over the Peacocks.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
I popped into game real quick. The areas to open are there, and they have access to them. Like
But they don't have.
But they don't open.
Oh, okay. But they're
So they
marked
don't open
out.
or close. Yeah, but they're marked out.
That's cool.
Oh, cool.
So
Sweet.
Or maybe you're just not finding the buttons because on the Talon you have to hit the little button that's next to the panel, not the actual panel itself.
Oh yeah. So there might be buttons on there now, as opposed to just like a random contextual thing.
yeah, possibly because I'm definitely seeing like little things that are labeled like a power plant access point.
That's cool.
Cool. That's cool. So now the little thing underneath the Gladius that nobody knew what was for actually has a purpose because that's basically housing a lot of the components.
We'll see. It's really small, but we'll see.
It's got small components.
That's true. That's true. Another ship that's changed this patch apparently. I don't look at the rear end of a Constellation that much, so I mean, like, it might not be true. So
I do
is
because
it?
I killed them a lot.
So would you happen to know then if the P series access port on the rear of the Constellation chassis is that new? Like where the Pisces goes, like now it says P series access on it, and there's like a weird housing around
The
it too.
Mustang or the Merlin.
The Merlin. Yeah,
The Archimedes.
Yeah, the Merlin. And
Yeah,
Archimedes.
What did I call
Merlin
it?
and Archimedes. Pisces.
Oh, got a Pisces.
Because P series and Pisces, yeah. Because it's a P51 and P72, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is new. And it's not just the text; it's also the shape of the clamps that then grab onto the snub fighter.
Yeah, from
are
the
different.
inside, it all looks the same though.
I'm gonna check it right now because
Okay.
I'm still
Are
in
you-
game. So
Are you in hangar?
Yeah, he's
I'm
probably in
hanging,
hangar
yeah.
mode. Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently it's also gotten a complete overhaul of how it flies.
I haven't flown
Constellation.
one yet. I haven't flown one yet, but it's on the patch notes. Yeah.
Yep.
Like it should be more cutlassy,
So
freelancery.
is this the death of the Connie equals shit meme?
Not
Or
until
will it still
those.
be shit.
Not until.
not
those,
until it's better.
I mean, yes, but is it better now?
It's supposed to fly better now. I haven't flown one yet. But
Yeah.
what about the struts? They're fixing the struts apparently.
Oh yeah. Well, if they do the whole Mantis style cockpit for the Constellation, this is gonna make a lot of people happy.
Yeah. The Connie is.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's the Cockney has a place in a lot of people's hearts. It's like it's CR's favorite ship. It's for many it's been the between the Connie and the Freelancer, people would always go Connie. And we've expanded now. We have loads more ships, but lots of people still have a thing for the Connie. It just needs some love. There is tech debt and all that stuff. Of course, all these people are wrong, though.
Ships.
Disgusting taste.
It's one of the oldest ships. Like of the first ships, it was the Aurora, the Hornet, the Freelancer, and the Cutlass, which got its own little model because it didn't make it into the hangar, and the Connie. Those are the 5 ships that they first sold. So
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I remember the official box art as well for do you remember that? Like when they revealed
And the USB drive in the shape of a Connie that the game was supposed to be delivered on.
That was, I think, the reason why they announced that was because of this thing over here. Diablo did something very similar around that time. Where so this is Diablo's skull, and then this is the Black Soul Gem, and so that's the USB that contains the game. Yeah.
If only it didn't get patched so much that you basically have to re-download the entire thing afterwards.
Yeah.
It's with these games, digital distribution is what really matters.
Yeah.
I think the USB drives should be for stuff like the soundtrack.
That's what this
concept art collections, stuff like that, not the actual game.
Yeah, no, this I think was so this was for Diablo 3, but inside was Diablo's 1 and 2.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay. So we get Squadron 1 through 41.
which don't exist. Stop pretending they exist, Josh. They don't exist.
How will I know what the plot is then if I haven't seen the first 41? Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm looking. I'm looking. By the way, I'm looking at the access port. It doesn't look all that different. But then again, everything's
no,
because
it has to fit. It has to fit the Merlin or the Archimedes, and the actual overall shape of the butt remain the same. So it's basically just where the two ships connect. I think that is slightly
it
different.
says P series dock. Yeah, and it doesn't actually have the ship on there right now. So, but
311 is still live. Somebody could go in and take some screenshots for us, maybe.
Yeah. So.
But the big thing about 312 that people haven't mentioned yet is the
Are you okay? That was a lot.
Dar's having a stroke.
That was a lot.
Dar's having a stroke. Okay.
Yeah. Tractor beam.
The tractor beam, yes. I say the tractor beam or the Idris, because that's the other thing that everyone's been trying to do is kill the Idris.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember a couple of months ago where people were complaining how 312 was completely gutted?
Mm-hmm.
People say a lot of things, Darch.
Yeah. All is well.
Oh, did Paul say that too?
I was saying it was gutted because I was like, I'm not that interested in it. I don't see what they could add until iCache comes in. But so far,
Quelle surprise.
However, I will say, in defense of my cynical self, the Idrises shouldn't be in the game right now. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's bad. Like the first player Idris kill wasn't a player Idris kill so much as the ship flew into a station and then just bashed itself against the station until it exploded.
I saw that video.
I think the second one was actually legit.
Yeah.
So we got a question from somebody in chat. Were you gonna continue with that thought? Sorry, Paul.
No, I was just gonna say, and someone else said in chat, it's like, and it's 5 frames per second. You're fighting these things at like nausea-inducing low FPS because we added it in. So.
Yeah. I mean, we can argue that it's the PTU. Hopefully, like when live gets pushed, it'll be.
But if you have the entire server in the same location fighting one of these Idrises, it's gonna tank as well.
Yeah. We'll see. Anyway, Steve in chat says, do you think the tractor beam is supposed to replace push and pull mechanics?
No.
Go watch SCL. Richard Tyler went on for a very long time.
He didn't just go on a long. Everyone stopped. Everyone got quiet, and Richard said categorically, absolutely, positively not, and then continued on a long diatribe about how they're envisioning push and pull mechanics to interact with tractor beams and everything else like that.
It's just a mechanic to help, first of all, get the groundwork for tractor beams for ships and the SRV and stuff, but also it's just part of the universe.
Yeah, and it's basically, all of the tractor beams are now done, because it's only a matter of the VFX making it either bigger or larger or more gloomy, something to show how much power it actually has behind it, and a little value in DataForge to allow how much force it's allowed to move. And that's it. That's the only differences there are going to be between, the little multi-tool mounted one and the biggest ship mounted one. But there will be so many different ones. There will be dedicated utilities for only tractor beam that will be more powerful than just the multi-tool module. There will be vehicle-based ones, there will be ship-based ones, and all of them are going to require power to operate, and push-pull with your hands is not going to. So that is why, the reason why tractor beams are not going to replace push-pull in zero-G traversal is because you're going to run out of power, or you're going to be consciously preserving power for something else.
Do you think jumping will replace running?
Exactly.
Says somebody.
Yeah.
If you look at pretty much every other game, people bunny hop around because it's jumping doesn't have a stamina hit.
But the stamina system takes care of that. Yeah, you're right. All right. So, I mean, man, there's so much to cover. There's so much to think about. And I can't believe we've already gone over an hour.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a big patch. I mean, a lot of it, we did go off kind of on tangents here and there, but there's a lot of stuff. Like, I haven't even really been able to deep dive into the new faction system, the new reputation systems.
I'm staying away from that until live, just because I don't want to have to grind rep more than once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I'm just testing out to see what it works like. Like, for instance, with bounty hunting, the way it works now is you get you have to go pay for a license. So you have to pay $400 or 400 UEC to go and then go on a test and then go.
That's less than a shirt.
Yeah. But then that's for the very low threat. And then once you've gotten that, you have to then do local tests like you did before for like Hurston or Crusader or wherever you are. They'll say, hey, go do this test for us. But now the payments for like a very low threat assessment test for bounty hunting is 4,000 UEC. So whereas before it was 1,000 or 500, so now it's
Right.
jacked right back up.
Nice.
And then you can constantly get those, and then once you've proven yourself with that, then it unlocks the low threat targets, and then the medium threat targets, and then the high threat targets, and then the very high threat targets. And you have to go through through like a gateway, like, you know, pay for this test and go do that. So
How long do you think that they will be mixing the tractor beam and the bounty hunting together, where you actually have to grab the dead body of the person whose ship you just destroyed and deliver them to the bounty hunting headquarters before you're actually paid, instead of just getting the money at ship explosion?
I think we're just waiting on we're waiting on iCache, but everything's waiting.
The list of things depending on iCache is longer than my arm.
Yeah, but other than that, I think that's probably next year. I mean, there's a couple of professions that Chris Roberts specifically has indicated that they want to try to work on, and what they seem to be focusing on are piracy, cargo running, mining, bounty hunting, and yeah, that's it. Those are the four big ones that he wants to add in there. So bounty hunting makes sense with all the things. All you really need to do now is just have some sort of non-lethal weapon to be able to take someone down.
Yes,
And they've shown us the concept of that, yeah.
Yeah.
And an easy way to incentivize people to go the non-lethal route is have a bigger payout if you deliver the perp live instead of dead.
Yep.
And it'll also incentivize you using things like the hawk or the cutlass or
One of the
the stalker.
the stalker, the Avenger stalker.
Yeah.
So that you can actually have a place to put them. And I think you're mostly going to have NPCs when you do those kind of things, but I think players will also probably be involved in that. So
Yeah.
What about one of those just fridges? Do you think we'd be able to just buy a fridge? Not a fridge, like a freezer,
Chuck him into the walk-in freezer of the Hammerhead and be done with it.
or the 890?
Oh, the 890, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the best bounty hunting chip, the 890.
890.
For sure.
Honestly, what I'd like to see, and I think this is probably going to be something I hope they do, is a series of tools that you can buy that you just put in your hangar or your cargo bay. So things like a tool that's designed to spoof whatever is in your cargo bay, or to make it look like your cargo bay, and that would be a legitimate thing for traders to have, because if you don't want to have to deal with pirates, now that high value cargo that you're carrying now all looks like space potatoes, and they don't want a stinky space potato, so they just leave you alone.
A scan spoofer, and so you'd have to go inside the ship and like inspect it manually, so you'd have to board the person, and then it would make it so that if you were, say, like a Hull series like a person, all your cargo is exposed to space, so you don't have that luxury, and it means that anybody using a sealed ship has that advantage to use one of those things.
Yeah,
Especially combined with the updates to the scanning and radar that they're introducing, that are so much more expensive than what we have now. We covered this on a previous episode of the show already, but yeah.
But I was thinking like stuff like that, like the bounty, like being able to buy bounty hunting, like cryogenic freezers you can just stick in your cargo bay. The ability to buy like seats, to just like plop down seats in your cargo grid, so that you can turn into like a transport. Those a whole range of stuff you can add to your cargo bay would be kind of cool for a lot of these different issues. That's something I want to see from CIG for, especially as they're going along with things like these tractor beams, and they're expounding upon all of these various gameplay mechanics. I'm like, this is an extension of that could work pretty well.
So for a laugh, like 2 days ago or so, we actually read through the Q&A 1 for the Genesis Starliner, and one of those things was that like you will be able to use any ship you want to be a like transport ship, but this is supposed to be better. So it makes me think that, I mean, they were thinking even then about maybe perhaps once we get iCache, which already exists in some parts in the game right now on your ships, but not in the verse. Like you can place like chairs or whatever, and then I don't know, lock them so they don't move anymore, or you can't like accidentally pick them up, and then there you have it. You have your own personal transport ship in your Cutlass that you can have people to sit on. The only issue there, I think, is that like from a pathing issue, like NPCs may have issues like getting to your self-placed seats if like you're trying to cram too many of them in there. But yeah,
maybe you won't be able to position them so close to each other, or there will be eventually spaces where you can't block. But that already happens. Like if you have a cargo ship full of cargo, NPCs will still have to be able to navigate around. You can't just use cargo to block NPC entry and exit.
That's true, but your cargo locations on your ships are preset locations.
Yep. So why not just limit the seats or whatever you're putting there to where the cargo can go and not where the the pathways are?
Because that's just smart.
See, my thought was something like a wrought iron like frame that would be that you just put seats on top of,
right?
And then they would just sit inside a cargo bay, but you'd buy them for specific ships, and so
right.
whichever one they would have, they'd automatically have like a in theory, like it would be like a bar that would be in somewhere in the center that would still block you from moving around, but it's just like a bar that connects the two sides of the seats in like a Freelancer Max.
Yeah.
So you can still walk up and down the like an aisle, an artificial aisle that comes with it.
I don't see it being really any different from like and also Freelancer Max or whatever would be an amazing like transit ship if you could get like modular seats in. But like I don't see it being any different from like how they've envisioned homesteads and homestead defenses to be. You buy it, you place it down, it's there. But then for your ship, and it's that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like you just buy seats, you put them in your cargo bay, and now you've got a seat.
Yeah.
And it's really more just to prevent the NPCs from passing out when you do high G maneuvers.
Yeah. But like CIG this year, I mean, like in terms of how many ships they've released, is it less than normal? Like they put into concept and stuff.
I think like the first 6 months of 2020 was very low on concepting and ships.
Yeah. I want to speculate, like put on your tinfoil caps here, that maybe the reason for that is because they might be working more on modular stuff now. Maybe. I mean, I would hate
going back and tucking and fixing the old ships instead of working on new ones.
Yeah, I would hate to see them sell, modules and stuff for money, but I could see them going down that route in the future.
They did.
They have.
Like with the Retaliator, and comes to mind.
Yeah.
I bought that one just because of the exploration modules.
You weak people.
Well, then I did upgrade it to the Carrack, so it's all water. It's all water under the very expensive bridge for me.
I'm hoping that 2021 is going to be the year of modularity for CIG and just whatever in the stuff that they make and all that stuff.
I do not have the same level of optimism as you, Myre, but I find your level of optimism very invigorating. Thank you.
I find it endearing.
Yeah.
Oh, stop. I'm going to take that as a compliment. But
I will say that 312 is what 312 is overall gives me hope that CIG will probably shatter. That 313 and 314 will not just be patches, kind of like how usually the beginning of the year's patches are always just kind of So I'm hoping that it's something more. Maybe they can actually get iCache in by the second patch of 2021. Maybe the 313 patch will be adding more stuff, maybe more utility to tractor beams, maybe more tractor beams. Like maybe we'll see. But
do you actually envision the new roadmap coming out before 2021?
That's the plan, but we'll see.
It's possible. It depends because CIG is good at several things, and not at others. One of the things that CIG excels at, in my experience with working with them for things like, releases. So like every so often when a release happens, they'll contact me and it's like, hey, we want to give away the ship. We want to help you out. And usually those communications start a month before the actual release, or, it's close to that. So CIG seems to have at least some kind of knowledge about that information, or at least they have a lot of planning around it. But then the technical aspects are never something they can predict. So I don't know, and that's where the roadmap. I don't know if that's a technical issue, in the sense like because they have to work around the schedules of other people who are working, or if it's more just we have it done. We're just making it prettier, we're debating on what we should be putting on there, what we shouldn't be putting on there, or how do we frame this, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
The new roadmap, I mean, from what they've spoken about it and stuff, they're like, this is our answer to open development. So whatever it is, I mean, at least from the way they've spoken it up, is supposed to be pretty big. So, I mean, with all things, I hope they take their time, but at the same time, it's one of those things that we kind of, I wouldn't say we need, but a lot of us feel entitled to.
Mm-hmm. I love that word.
Need? Entitled?
Entitled.
To? Okay.
To, yeah.
You love that word too.
I love the word too because it has so many spellings.
I hate English.
Yeah. And do you think that the roadmap is good? How live do you think it's going to be? Is it updating? Is it push updates for like every time somebody makes an update to their Jira? Will it be once a day, once a week, like we had before? They said it's pulling directly from their internal Jira. So like a lot of the work they've been doing is basically just sanitizing all the information, so they're not both either spoiling or just overwhelming the output of so it's not like a wall of text for everything that's constantly changing.
So I think it's supposed to be they're going to be showing what every single team is doing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be in like deep or rich detail. It could just be time frames for specific things. So like, for instance, the active status team could have like a bar saying active status stuff, and then like you just have the bar going up there. So, oh, okay, that's where the money's going, as opposed to like, okay, right now they're working on like, like going downstairs or like, radiation or that kind of thing. But like,
speaking of going downstairs, they promised that like 3 years ago, and we still don't have like the step matching of locomotion thing.
Yeah,
Evo Herzig's slacking.
I mean,
he's not. I love you, Evo, but I'm just.
Even Cyberpunk doesn't have that right. So
doesn't no. Does any game?
No,
not really. IK Footsteps, no.
Yeah.
Not just IK Footsteps, because like Star Citizen's like the one. So dynamic IK Footsteps, I think SC is kind of like it's the only game that does that. But what we're talking about is like not just dynamic IK Footsteps, but like animation.
GTA actually has it. GTA 5.
Yeah, GTA has the animation transition into staircase animations, but I don't think it's IK. You still like you stop and then you then balance your feet.
Yeah.
But like it matters.
It matters.
It's just pretty.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. No, but I remember how the transition between stairs being ramp, just an obvious ramp, to actually being stairs for your character to walk up, but not adapting their cadence to match the steps.
Yeah,
that's what's missing.
Yeah, and also like just the stair animation itself, as opposed to just like I'm walking and my feet are stepping on the stairs, but it kind of like I'm just striding over like blocks. Anyway,
how did we get on this topic? How did I get on this topic?
How did we get anywhere?
We talked about 312 and we talked about the future of Star Citizen through 312.
I think I used a step analogy and then you expanded on it for some reason, and now we're here. But
And that's how tangents are born.
But I think that, yeah, we could go on like this for ages, and maybe we will do, but maybe perhaps another week.
Yes.
So, Paul, once again, thank you so much for joining us today and shooting the stuff about 312. Appreciate it. I'm not doing the sign off. Darj, you're doing the sign off.
No, I'm not doing the sign off. I did the intro. Paul,
I'll do
go
the
for it.
sign off. Thank you for joining us here at Fortnightly Frontier. We hope you had a good time. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, you should hit that subscribe. It's absolutely free for you to do so. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button. Maybe comment down below. Add to the conversation. What do you think about 312? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you want some more of it? Do you think that Myre's coffee is good and delicious? Speculate in the comments below. And remember, like I say every time, hope to see you guys again soon. But if I don't, hope to see you someday in the black. Video.
I'll give that like a 2 out of 10.
Ah!